Burn, baby, burn. Welcome into a very special bonus edition of Fantasy Baseball today on Friday, September 1st. I am Frank Stampfl, and I teased earlier in the week that I would be joined by a Yankees legend. Let me quickly read off the resume here. Four-time World Series champ, five-time All-Star, four-time Gold Glove Award winner, Silver Slugger Award winner, 1998 AL batting champion, hitting .339, played all 16 years with the New York Yankees. Please welcome to the show, Bernie Williams. Thank you so much for taking the time. We really appreciate it, man.
Oh man, what a pleasure! Thank you so much. And with that introduction, you're hired.
I'm happy to do it. It's hearing it from you. It means a lot. Look, I hate to start things off on a negative topic, but let's just get it out of the way. Let's talk about the Yankee season. And so far, obviously, it's been a pretty rough one. The Yankees are currently in last place in the AL East, and if these results stand, it will be the first time they finish in last place since 1990. Bernie, what have you seen from the Yankees this season? What's gone wrong?
Well, it's kind of interesting that you mentioned 1990 because around that time was around the time that I first started, making my way into the big leagues, and they called that, that and years prior to that, the lean years. And I am hoping to God that this is not the start of the lean years for the Yankees. For this generation, I am hoping that it's just an anomaly and just sort of a slew of good years for these guys. I know that individually and collectively, they want to be part of that team that has basically thrive on excellence. Over the past 100 years, more championships than anybody in baseball and so forth. It's been a great organization. They have gotten into some roadblocks, this year with injuries and, the fact that Aaron Judge was basically missed, for most of the season. He's trying to get his timing back. But if you would have asked me in the middle of the 90s, this team is going to be in 2023 is going to be last, I would say you're crazy. You're crazy. This is not a thing that happens, with the Yankees very often. But I know that they, from the front office standpoint and the player standpoint, they do have the ability to improve their team, whether by getting more help, from the minor league system, or trying to go out there and getting some help, from free agents or trades. They always have been known for having that ability to get whatever they need to make the team a productive team. So this year, they're going to have to make a lot of changes probably, but they'll find a way. I'm sure that they will find a way.
Yeah, look, it's a loaded division right now. The Orioles, the Blue Jays, Tampa Bay, they've all played very well this season. And it's easy to tell yourself a story. What would have happened if Aaron Judge never got hurt this season, right? Moving on from there, you mentioned the front office, and look, Yankee fans, I know that they can get a little bit crazy at times. What do you think the future holds for both Aaron Boone and Brian Cashman?
Well, I mean, I don't know. I am so glad that I don't get paid to make these decisions. But they have gotten into a rough patch, and I think that I just hope that people don't see this as sort of a trend that is going to keep happening. I think it's maybe just a fluke. And given the track record of the organization over the last 30 years, this is a fluke. This is something that doesn't happen very often. But with that said, obviously the Yankee fan base are used and demand, a team that is excellent on the field and a team that is going to give them, what they want, which is, a championship team, year in and year out. So to that effect, I think, anybody that is involved in the front office and the organization is going to have to reevaluate, the situation that they have at hand right now and try to make the proper changes. These guys are as good as the players, and they're as good as the record. And they don't go out there, nor Aaron nor Cashman, they don't go out there and throw the ball and hit the ball and make all these plays. It's incumbent upon these players to play up to their expectations and the things that they have set out to accomplish. It's very unfortunate that they have not been able to do that in this year. But I guess we're just gonna have to wait and see what the future holds for those guys. But one thing is for sure, that they're not gonna be happy where they are right now. So they're gonna have to make some changes.
All right, let's talk about something more positive. And you mentioned the minor league system a little bit earlier, and the Yankees have been calling up a slew of their young players. They announced just yesterday that they're calling up their 20-year-old outfield prospect, Jasson Dominguez. And frankly, I can't think of anybody more qualified to give an opinion than Bernie Williams, right? The starting center fielder for the Yankees, the future starting center fielder for the Yankees in Jasson Dominguez. He got off to a slow start this season in Double-A, but since July 1st, he's been raking, showing improved plate discipline, some power, lots of speed as well. Bernie, what are your expectations for the young kid, Jasson Dominguez?
Yeah, I was very fortunate to have the opportunity to see him in spring training, and he was just the talk of the spring. He was just his poise, his maturity level at that young age, being able to handle spring training and with everything that involved, the hitting, and working out, rubbing elbows with these guys and acting like he belongs there. Ability-wise and mental-wise, and he didn't really feel intimidated by anybody. He had a couple of good at-bats in spring training, and I think the opportunity is golden for him because it hasn't really been anybody that has shown that they want to own that position. So he's up for the taking, and I think if he has an opportunity to show what he can do, he might be the next center fielder for the next 20 years with this organization. But I think it just remains to be seen. He has the ability, but we all know that playing in New York, takes a different animal. It takes, not only the part on the field and the playing on the field and the performing in the stadium is probably the easiest of everything that you have to deal with in New York. So it's just we're going to have to see, how he has been able to adjust to all these great changes in his career right now.
Yeah, just 20 years old, flying through the system. The Martian, they call him. Very excited to see him make his debut this upcoming weekend for the Yankees. Let's take a little trip down memory lane and talk some stories here from your playing days back with the Yankees. Many reports back in the day, the boss, George Steinbrenner, putting your name out there in trade rumors. I know it's a business and all that, but at the time, how did you handle that?
It was difficult. I think, in many of those cases, I tried to stay away from all the commentary and all the rumors and everything that was going on because it was just unnecessary pressure that I would put on myself. I would really have the firm belief that if I would take care of things on the field, all that talk and this, will dissipate, from the media and from all the people that, really had a say in making all these decisions. All I had to do was concentrate and focus on the things that I had to do on the field. Hitting the ball, catching the ball, making plays, helping the team win baseball games. And I would figure if I take care of that, everything else would take care of itself. And fortunately for me, it did. I was in the, front talk, about as far as being traded. And I think, I would be remiss to not, to mention that there were a lot of people in the organization that really believed in my ability to play the game. People like, Buck Showalter when he was here, Mark Newman, and especially Gene Michael, that they really believed in the fact that I could play the game, and they were trying to keep me as much as they can, sort of shield me from the wrath of the boss, at that time. And he just seemed to be like really impatient and not having, just kind of like the patience to develop the players. He wanted them to perform right then and there. But I was just, call it luck, call it good luck, call it just opportunity, meeting, hard work. But I was able to sort of fly a little bit under the radar in those years. And that really allowed me the opportunity to establish myself as a big league baseball player. And I guess, with the great teammates that I had over those years, the rest, it has become a good history.
And I'll speak for all Yankee fans and say I'm grateful that those people within the organization also showed that trust in you and that faith, because obviously, Bernie, you had a tremendous career. So happy it worked out that way. There were also some rumors that following the 1998 season, the Red Sox offered you a pretty big contract. Between you and me, were you ever close to actually signing in Boston?
Yeah. I think that, at the end of the day, I knew that I owe it to myself to at least explore the possibility. of seeing what was out there for me. After being a part of an organization for, if you count, 5.5 years in the minor leagues and then 6 years in the major leagues, without the ability to see, to be a free agent, to every line of work, that you have in America, you always have an ability to seek out a better opportunity for you and your family, and better conditions, better working conditions, a better system. And I think I owed it to myself to explore. And I, really emphasize that, explore. At the end of the day, what I found out was that being a Yankee was going to give me the best opportunity to be successful and have, the rest of my career with one team, especially this team in New York. We were on the kind of like basically having the best run that we have ever had, winning, I would say at that time it was 3 out of the last 4 years. We won 96, 98, and then in 99, when I became a free agent, it was one of those, decision opportunities that I had to make, and I had to put everything in a balance. Say, am I going to go for the money? Am I going to go, because I feel upset that they didn't really, feel like they wanted me, speaking of the Yankees, or am I just going to swallow my pride and say, this is the team that I belong to, and this is the team that I want to finish the rest of my career with, and this is the team that is going to give me the best opportunity to be in the postseason year in and year out. I made that decision to remain a Yankee for the rest of my career, and it was one of the best decisions that I've ever made.
Derek Jeter, let's talk about him. Yankees captain. You guys played 12 seasons together. You won 4 World Series rings together. That's a lot of time. Do you have a funny story or a behind the scenes, what it was like, Derek Jeter, the player, the person? Any thoughts there?
Oh man, he was just a great teammate. He's a great human being, and I think it has a lot to do with his upbringing. I think it was a kind of an anomaly we were just used to seeing Dr. Jeter and his mom there constantly. Even when he was already established as a superstar in the big leagues, they were there supporting him in every step of the way. And it showed in his behavior, the way that he conducted himself on and off the field. And he was just the ultimate professional. He lived and breathed baseball. Nothing else mattered to him but to win baseball games, win championships. And he was just the best, the best person to fulfill that captain role in our years. The team put a lot of stake on him to be the representative and the face of the club. And he took that responsibility to heart, and they call him the Cap, and that's no slouch, man. Following a long line of great captains that this club has ever had, and I mean, he's definitely right up there in that echelon. So he's just, and then he has just basically has trickled down into being a very successful entrepreneur. Is a part owner of the Marlins, and everything that he does it at the biggest and the most effort, 100% and the highest quality possible. So he's very very interesting individual, and somebody that has you can look up to him, and for all the kids out there, man, that's the way that I would definitely have to do it, looking up for him and looking up for him to do all these great things that he did.
And now a great father too. I see pictures of him on Twitter. He's got all the decorations on his face, going to birthdays and all that kind of crazy stuff. So looks like he's having a great time being a father as well. Bernie, let's get into a few just rapid fire, quick hitting questions here. And I'm sure this is something you've been asked a lot after your playing career. Who was the toughest pitcher that you faced back in the day? I'm sure lots of names come to mind. Is there any one where every time you saw that pitcher, you said, not this guy again?
Yeah. I would say probably that guy that gave me the most trouble was Pedro Martinez.
Yeah.
I think, as a starter, I mean, he was just as close as I could compare to an artist on the mound. He had 4 above average pitches, and he was intimidating, even though he didn't have an intimidating figure. But he had a great arm, great control, and he was a bulldog out there on the mound. And we had our times, we had our battles, and I'm just much better for it, man. And really showed me at that time what was I made of, and if I was gonna go in 100% on this battle. I needed to be at the top of my game, and he really made me elevate, the quality and the level of my game to be able to face him on a yearly basis.
Yeah, on the flip side, is there a pitcher that you remember facing that you had a lot of success against and that you were always excited to face? Not that I don't want to throw anyone under the bus, but
I wouldn't say excited to face him, but it's not even that you get a little peace of mind, because baseball is very uncertain in those, especially when you take things for granted. You always have to approach the game as, like never take anything for granted, and always approach it like, if I have success with this guy, this may be the day that he may have my number. So I don't want that to happen. So you approach it, kind of like the same way all the time. But I think of all those guys that I had fairly good success, I'd probably mention maybe a guy like Jamie Moyer, or somebody like that, Doug Drabeck, or somebody like that. But it really didn't matter. I mean, I really like to approach a guy like Pedro and a guy like Jamie Moyer, just to mention two of the the opposite spectrum of my success level, in the same way mentally, because you never know what was going to happen in a given day. And there were some days that Jamie was really successful and very effective. So I really needed to be at the top of my game in any circumstance.
Bernie, this one, it's a loaded question. There are no wrong answers. But if you had to build the Mount Rushmore of New York Yankees, right? The top 4, the greatest Yankees of all time, who are you putting on the Mount Rushmore?
I'll say probably. I mean, I'll be kind of biased. I mean, I'll probably start with Babe Ruth, and then maybe one guy from that era. I mean, I'll be so torn here, because you have guys like Mickey Mantle and Joe DiMaggio and Lou Gehrig. But then you have the guys from my era. You have a guy that was anonymous. Like he was the only guy that has been inducted into the Hall of Fame anonymously. That's Mariano Rivera. I mean, that he has to be there. And of course, Derek Jeter. If I would probably mention a team, probably the '98, Yankees. This year's the 25th anniversary of that team. That as a team, sort of had one of the best seasons in the history of the game too.
Yeah, so you had Babe on there, you had Mariano, you had Jeter. You got one more for the Mount Rushmore?
I'll probably be really biased and say Yogi.
All right.
He was my favorite.
You can put yourself on there too if you want, Bernie.
I don't know about that, man. I'm happy mentioning other people.
All right. Lastly, I do want to ask you about something I know that's very important to you, and that's interstitial lung disease. How has the disease affected you personally, and why is interstitial lung disease awareness and early diagnosis so important to you?
Well, it's really important. Thank you, for asking me that question. My dad died from idiopathic pulmonary fibrosis in 2001, and that disease is one of the most common forms of interstitial lung disease. So I've been teaming up with Boehringer Ingelheim to form this program called Tune Into Lung Health, which utilizes the power of music to raise awareness about these diseases, and it has been awesome. So Tune Into Lung Health, and I will have the opportunity to play the anthem on the 5th, September 5th. Hopefully, are we on real time here?
No, this is recorded. So
okay, great. So I can talk about something that I'm going to do in the next couple of days. Very excited about having the platform that baseball gave me to give back to the community, especially in Yankee Stadium, my beloved Yankee Stadium, and for the Yankee fans, raise awareness about something that is really dear and near and dear to my heart.
Yeah, again, that'll be Tuesday, this upcoming Tuesday, September 5th. Bernie will be there playing the national anthem, again, to promote Tune Into Lung Health.
Tune Into Lung Health.
Yeah, and to find program resources and more information, head into www.tuneintolunghealth.com, again, where you can find more information. Bernie, I just got to end with like a little fanboy moment here. We were talking beforehand, growing up in New York in the 90s as a kid, many kids' favorite players, Derek Jeter, Mariano Rivera, rightfully so. I mean, those guys were amazing, obviously. I'm not just saying this because you're here. You were my favorite player growing up, Bernie. I've got the jersey to prove it.
Oh, man. You got to hold on to that one, man. They don't even make them anymore.
I had to do it. I had to end there, a little fanboy moment, but this has
man.
been an amazing experience. Bernie, thank you so much for your time.
Oh, thank you so much for having me. Great. God bless, man.
We're going to wrap there for the legend, Bernie Williams. I am Frank. Thanks as always for tuning in to Fantasy Baseball today, and we'll be back again next week. Bye-bye.